Between Europe and Asia, economic dialogue, humanitarian missions, multi-vector operating and the search for compromises in the world arena. How else does Kazakhstan participate in the development of the modern world? More details, watch the program Kazakhstan International Vectors. Today you will find out when did the first money appear, what positions in the world ratings does the economy of Kazakhstan take, and what state is called the economic miracle.
Natural economy was the basis of life of primitive society. Everything necessary was produced therein. Later, it has increasingly become difficult for people to make all the necessary objects for life themselves, and they mastered the barter or the direct exchange. At the same time, the concept of the value of things arose. That is, a certain quantity of one commodity was equal to a certain quantity of another commodity. In South America and Oceania, pearls and shells served as a means of payment. In New Zealand, it was pebbles with a hole in the middle. Metals gained their value much later. According to historians, the first prototypes of coins appeared in the ancient Lydian kingdom and also in China in the 7th century BC. In the 5th century, the Persian king Darius officially launched the circulation of single coins from the alloy of gold and silver, abolishing barter in his state. Today, the turnover of goods and cash is a component of the economies of all countries of the world, and the main task of each state is to ensure the economic security.
Irina Gorshkova has founded her trading house 18 years ago, and now this enterprise occupies a significant place in the textile market of Kazakhstan. Irina admits that it took a long time for her to find the perfect sphere of activity.
As for the history of our business, at first we had only one small machine which we bought right in order to sew ready-made clothes or do some corrections in jackets. We first were buying these jackets from other companies and then realized that this was a sufficiently popular product. Thus, we've decided that we would sew jackets ourselves. We bought one more sewing machine, then another one, and then we bought an embroidery machine.
The retail store, clothes cutting and customer service departments. All these are the main components of the company today. Customers are different, but all of them, one way or another, are related to the service industry.
Our customers are the cooks, waiters who work in restaurants, barkeepers. We also sew clothes for the cleaning and technical services. These are the hairdressers, dry cleaners, kindergartners who naturally should be very nice and well dressed. Because apart from everything else, this affects the aesthetic taste of our kids. Therefore, everything that concerns services of hotels and restaurants, we try to create this assortment ourselves.
The appearance of the ready product depends much on the skills of the seamstresses, the serviceability of the equipment, and the quality of the material used, says Irina. From the very first day of the foundation of the enterprise until the present day, the main stake here is made on quality.
We are working with very good manufacturers. Our permanent partners are factories which produce very good products. It is natural that our main partners are the Russian companies, companies from Korea and sometimes companies from China. But our main partners are still from Russia and Korea. In fact, we have been working with them for 18 years already and they have never let us down. They always promote good quality. They have fabrics that do not shed and behave well. You know, the uniform is the thing that should always look good. It should look as if it had just been stroked.
The customer-oriented business is doomed to success because inquiries of buyers prompt the manufacturer what should be done and how, explains Irina.
We have special patterns. Why special? Because we have a lot of clients and every client is asking for something special. In principle, if customers did not ask for something unique, especially created for them, they could have bought it in any store. Why do we work for a store, for an order department? Almost every customer, well, at least every second person, orders something special, be it a long sleeve, different color or an unusual model that he or she saw in the internet. We never refuse. We try to rejoice at every new model because each new model creates a new experience for us.
Irina notices that since recently the uniform in the Kazakh style has become very popular. This is not only pleasant for the eyes, but also reflects the national flavor of the country during different international exhibitions.
Now let's admit these suits that I want to show you. They go to the exhibition and they are the special suits so that our chaps who go abroad and represent Kazakh cuisine could show also the Kazakhstan's flavor. Here you can see a collection of jackets for porters. We naturally also want them to reflect our national flavor so that people and guests who come to the hotel could immediately see the national ornaments. Colors are beautiful. They refer to the national colors of Kazakhstan.
The love for the work of every employee of the company, as well as the ability to approach it creatively, will ensure the success of the whole enterprise. Central Asia is a vast region that has no access to the sea. Cooperation and mutual trade of the countries of this region plays an important role in ensuring social, political, and economic stability. In 2010, the Customs Union was formed, and in 2015, the Treaty on the Eurasian Economic Union entered into force, which included Russia, Kazakhstan, Belarus, Armenia, and later Kyrgyzstan. These associations ensure the freedom of movement of goods and services, capital and labor, as well as a coordinated, coherent or unified policy in the economic sectors for all participating countries.
The world experts share the overall macroeconomic effect from the integration of post-Soviet countries into several points. Among them, the reduction of prices for goods due to a reduction in transportation costs, stimulation of healthy competition in the markets of the Eurasian Economic Union countries, an increase in the average wage of the population, and an increase in the production volume.
The world experts identify that non-diversified structure of the national economy and the dependence of national economies on raw materials exports as the main negative economic factors of the Central Asian region.
I mean, regional cooperation and integration is quite critical for the Central Asian republics, given that a number of them are landlocked. So getting access to markets is very important. But more than that, it is important that Kazakhstan, or for that matter all the Central Asian republics, have more market diversification, and one way to achieve that is to actually invest more in regional cooperation and integration, both in terms of the land connectivity, geographical, but also in access to the seas, and energy connectivity and ICT connectivity. So we in ESCAP are trying to promote regional cooperation and integration within the region.
The economy of Kazakhstan is the largest in the region of Central Asia. The republic is ahead of Italy, France, and even Japan in the world ratings on the level of economic freedom and, as a result, the development of the economy. During the 19 years of independence of the Republic of Kazakhstan, the terms economic security and ensuring economic security have firmly become part of the normative legal acts of the country.
In terms of the economic security, I think the fundamental element is that Kazakh economy is very much dependent on hydrocarbon resources, and it is very heavily dependent on its exports are heavily dependent also in terms of the products related to hydrocarbon sector. So high concentration both in the productive capacity as well as in the export earnings poses vulnerabilities, and as such diversification of the economy would augur well for long term. Barring that, I think, as I said, the short-term scenario seems to be looking up.
Since 2013, the National Chamber of Entrepreneurs, ATMECAN, has been working in Kazakhstan. Its main goal is to create favorable conditions for the development of entrepreneurship on the basis of effective partnership between business and government. Regional branches of the Chamber of Entrepreneurs were established in 14 regional centers of the country, as well as in the cities of Astana and Almaty. Their main job is to protect the rights and interests of local businesses and reduce administrative barriers. We meet on our site with state bodies, with various institutions, with banks' representatives to create the dialogue platform. We conduct a constructive dialogue trying to identify and eliminate existing problems. If these problems cannot be eliminated and require the intervention of higher state bodies, then we bring this issue to the National Chamber of Entrepreneurs, where our colleagues in turn bring them to the relevant ministries, to the level of the Prime Minister, and conduct the work accordingly. That is, we also participate in the process of changing in the regulatory framework. The Chamber of Entrepreneurs of Kazakhstan also actively supports businesswomen and young business initiatives. Even relevant councils have been created, both at the national and regional levels. Such councils are engaged in information and educational activities, they advise startup businessmen and facilitate the exchange of business experience with foreign colleagues. Recently, in his message to the people of Kazakhstan from 31st of January, the President has given the National Chamber a role to specifically protect business. He determined that as a representative of the main business, the National Chamber knows and owns the information about the business problems, and it can qualitatively improve and change the existing business environment and make it so that our large, small and medium-sized businesses work actively without interference of state bodies. Now the National Chamber of Entrepreneurs, its regional branches and the representatives of business are working to simplify legislation in the field of entrepreneurship. It is planned that such work will not only let the businessmen breathe, but will also open new opportunities for those who just want to start their own business. We are harmonizing business. We are working on a tax code. We've participated in the creation of the customs code of the Eurasian Economic Union, and we constantly keep on the pulse of business. We participate in the work of advisory bodies, for example the Commission on Land and so on, where we solve the key current topical issues with business, together with the state, and thus obtain a parity of all interests of the parties. This is our current work. Negotiations on Kazakhstan's accession to the WTO continued for almost 2 decades. 2 years ago, the Republic became the 162nd full member of the World Trade Organization. To achieve this result, a tremendous amount of work has been done in the country. More than 50 legislative acts of the Republic have been amended to facilitate business procedures and improve the overall investment climate. Now Kazakhstan has to comply with the requirements of the organization, and local business has to meet the international standards. The course developed in the last decade in the world economy aimed at globalization, international integration and ensuring high competitiveness of the state requires compliance with the norms of economic security. International experts explain this by the fact that economic security guarantees the development and sustainability of the economy. Therefore, its significance and role in the structure of national security is steadily growing. The concept of economic security is spelled out in the legislation of some countries, including Kazakhstan. It includes the provision in the state of financial, food, energy and transport security.
Well, I think Kazakhstan is building its brand, but ultimately all these foreign investors are looking at good business environment, more effective and transparent open investment regimes, no level playing field, not having preferential treatment for the government state sector versus the private sector. And it's looking for highly skilled workforce. It's also looking for markets proximity, because it's not going to just invest for Kazakhstan market, but it will be investors are looking at broader markets closer to Kazakhstan so that they are able to have larger retail market access.
The simpler it is to open and conduct business in the state, the higher the level of its economic development. The World Bank annually publishes the results of a survey of legal norms applied to private enterprises in 190 countries. These include, for example, obtaining construction permits, property registration, obtaining loans, and taxation. Apart from everything else, these indicators are used to identify successful reforms in business regulation, as well as to determine where and why they have been effective.
Есть такой рейтинг Doing Business.
There is such a rating called Doing Business, which measures the simplicity of doing business in every country. By the way, Kazakhstan takes the 35th place in this rating, so if we look at our rating from the years 2014, 2015 and 2016, we have significantly improved our positions, we have made significant progress in this rating. There are some skeptics who say, well, there are many world ratings, they show something, why do we need them? Well, I believe that they are really useful, because the 35th place in this rating is very responsible, and it is a very significant example.
Просто и легко.
According to the Doing Business 2017 study, Kazakhstan, along with such countries as Brunei, Belarus, Indonesia, Georgia, Pakistan, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, is among the countries that over the past 2 years have achieved good results in terms of improvement of their Doing Business indexes. In total, these countries have carried out 48 regulatory reforms aimed at improving the business environment. For example, we are now taking an example of the post-Soviet country, Georgia. This country is among the top 10, if I'm not mistaken, or even in the top 5 countries of the rating. Today, any entrepreneur who wants to do business there just comes to one single center. There, he or she can open a company, get a license, get any state services in one place. To date, there are many countries in the world that are deservedly called prosperous, advanced, or simply developed. The formula for their success is based on a stable, open, and efficient economy. It is the economic sector that directly affects all other areas of the country's activities, provides decent living conditions for citizens, and allows them to be a competitive participant in international relations. Each year, the London Research Institute publishes a global ranking of the prosperity of countries of the world. This year, the organization analyzed 149 countries upon 104 criteria. One of the most important was the state of the economy.
Sweden is on the 3rd place in the ranking of the most prosperous countries in the world. The economy of this country is developed and export-oriented. The main natural resources are forest, hydropower, and iron ore. It is followed by the Netherlands, known throughout the world for its rich flowering fields, which provide export products and a huge number of working places, not only for the Dutch, but also for foreigners. The leader of the rating is New Zealand. It is interesting that the success of the economy of this country directly depends on the dairy industry. In particular, the New Zealand Fonterra company provides dairy products for more than 30% of the world.
Singapore is another state with a highly developed economy. The country is called the economic miracle of the 20th century. At the time of gaining its independence in 1965, Singapore was a small, poor state which had to import even fresh water. And in just 40 years, thanks to the reforms in the education system, anti-corruption measures, severe laws, the country managed to evolve from a third world country to one of the most highly developed economies. Like any other entrepreneur, Irina has far-reaching plans to expand production of her company. The next step will be the purchase of new equipment and franchising of the enterprise. According to the world researchers, the year 2017 prepares a lot of interesting things for the whole region of Central Asia. The recovery of world commodity markets and rising of oil prices can be expected. This will allow commodity economies, including Kazakhstan, to show growth of 2.5%.
I think the prospects of Kazakhstan economy have definitely improved. Kazakhstan also has a fairly decent debt GDP ratio. It also has done quite a bit in terms of getting improved poverty indicators.
Kazakhstan as a whole makes a great progress in developing its own economy, experts say. The country is reviewing its foreign and domestic policies, focusing on world experience. There are international organizations that help to develop and implement programs to eradicate poverty and build up economic potential. As a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council, Kazakhstan, being the voice of the whole Central Asia, will be able to promote its initiatives on the world arena to achieve the greater level of economic security and stability.